In this video, we're continuing on in using AI as an instructional designer to help us understand different components to make the very best course possible, to have the very best educational experience possible. Today, we're going to talk about feedback. So how can we use AI in different ways to help us with this concept of feedback? So let's start by going into ChatGPT. And again, you could be using any type of a generative AI that you're comfortable with, but for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to use the free version of ChatGPT. We go into our interface here for ChatGPT, and then we'll put in a prompt. So in this case, I'm going to use this prompt that says, please act as a university level instructional designer and explain the teaching and learning component of feedback. Tell me about what this is and why it is important so that I can be the best instructor possible. So again, remember that we're using a nice advanced prompt so that it can give us the best result possible. Notice that I have all the different important components of a good prompt in that I'm giving it a task, I'm giving it instructions, I'm being specific with all of these things, and I'm also giving it reasons in order to give me the best result possible. So here I'm using the AI in order to give me an explanation so that I can learn. So I'm using the AI as an instructional designer to help me better understand a component. And in this case, the component of teaching and learning would be of feedback. So it goes through and instantly provides me an answer telling me about the different aspects of feedback, the different components associated with it. So it starts off by talking about the purpose of feedback. Why do we do that? Well, it's very important in order to have improvement, right? It says the primary purpose of feedback is to help learners improve. It talks about motivation because it helps students to recognize their efforts and achievements so it can boost their confidence because they're learning, they're progressing. It's, of course, a vital for aspect in that this helps in evaluating the learning's progress to determining if they're meeting the learning objectives, the student learning objectives, which is the key in our instruction. And then it talks about different types of feedback. So here we have formative feedback, summative feedback, goes in and describes those. And then this is really nice here. It gives the characteristics of effective feedback. So not only am I learning about what it is, but now the AI is telling me specifically, these are the characteristics in order to have the best type of feedback. It needs to be specific. It needs to be timely, constructive, positive and encouraging, goal-oriented. So you see, it should be aligned with the learning objectives. Again, it should be actionable, and that's what this is saying. And then different methods of delivering feedback. You have verbal feedback, written feedback, peer feedback. The rubrics themselves could be used as an aspect of this. Feedback and motivation is going in and talking a bit more about this. This is nice because it's talking about the importance of recognition as well as goal setting. It says encourage students to set their own goals and use feedback as a tool for self-improvement. Again, giving more agency and power to the student. And then feedback loops, using feedback to guide subsequent learning activities, allowing students to apply what they've learned from previous feedback. Again, so they learn and they're applying. So this kind of deals back with the experiential learning cycle as well. This is powerful in itself in that I, as an instructor, have been able to learn about this important component on multiple levels because it gave me information as far as what is feedback, but then it went further and it told me about the importance, about how to do it, about different components of it, different ways to do it. But of course, we can get in deeper, right? So we can give it a specific example and then go from there. So we'll go deeper by giving it a specific scenario or a specific situation in which I want assistance with feedback. So I'm saying, give me an example of how I could best give feedback to my students who just gave an oral presentation to the class. They did this individually in a professional communication course. Okay, so it goes through and gives a bunch of different possibilities here. It talks about positive feedback. So highlighting the strengths. Start with positive reinforcement. I was impressed with your clear articulation and confident presence during the presentation. You maintain good eye contact. So here it's talking about starting off with a strength and then specific praise. Be specific about what you did well. Like your introduction was captivating and effective. It grabbed the attention. Acknowledge effective techniques. Recognize any specific techniques they employed. For example, the use of visual aids, especially the graphs. So again, being very specific, very positive. And then going into constructive feedback. So areas to improve. And it talks about, you see how it's giving me very specific examples of what to say, what to do. Again, as an example for me to apply to the actual student's performance. provide suggestions, offer concrete suggestions for improvement, actionable feedback. Next time, try to use fewer filler words like excellent. Address nonverbal communication, components of body language and gestures. For example, pay attention to your body language while you made good eye contact. You might want to work on using hand gestures to emphasize key points. Encourage reflection, excellent. And then it talks about setting goals for improvement. Specific goals, encourage them to set specific goals based on the feedback. For example, considering setting a goal to reduce filler words by 50%. So this is excellent in that the example that it's giving, it's trying to be very specific, right? 50%. So now it's giving a specific goal that the student could actually shoot for. And then practice opportunities, suggest ways to practice and apply the feedback. For example, you might want to practice in front of a mirror or record yourself. This can be a valuable tool for self-assessment, or I could incorporate some other type of opportunity for them to actually practice. So again, great example. And then it went in and gave us some very specific things that we could do, which we can then take and apply in different ways for our student. Excellent. So it gave us lots of different things to consider and different ways that we could implement this. So it talked about these specific examples. So those are things that we could actually say, so we could give verbal responses, right? This could be something that we do verbally within the class, maybe in front of the class, or maybe just verbally one-on-one with the student. Or we could take this and put it into a written form so that they can have a written evaluation of what occurred. But the great thing about this is that it's helping us to understand feedback. It's showing us what right looks like. So the way that we use AI as an instructional designer is virtually limitless because it has access to all this great information. So that's the key thing to take away with this, is that, yes, we have the AI that's there with us. It's right there sitting alongside us, so it can help us in many, many different ways. It's like an instructional designer assistant for us that's sitting right next to us. So definitely use it to your advantage. Make sure that you're incorporating all these great things. And again, feedback is an awesome way to enhance the course. You can see how it touches into motivation as well. So again, really use AI to its maximum, especially as an instructional designer, because it's there as yet another tool to assist you and to succeed in teaching and learning. And remember, learning is for life.